we're going to do some high kicks. So in these, we're going to be walking and bringing our leg up high. What I want you to do is, as we start, you're going to just go up as high as you feel comfortable, and then as you progress further towards the end of it, you're going to be trying to really test that range of motion and get as much out of it as you can. Next one we're going to do is high knees. So with high knees, we're going to be walking, trying to bring our knees up to our chest. Drive that knee up as high as you can. You're really trying to drive it up here to the chest. The next one we're going to be doing is called butt kicks. So with butt kicks, we're basically just going to be driving our heel up towards our butt. What you can also do if you're not able to drive that heel all the way up right away is you can grab a hold of it. I want you to squeeze your glute on that same side and then try to squeeze it up there tight. Our next one is going to be a walking lunge with a twist. So with the walking lunge with a twist, what we're trying to do is really get a good hip flexor stretch. So we're going to walk into a lunge position, on the same side that the knee is down, we're going to bring that arm up as high as you can and twist. You'll feel a strong stretch here in the hip flexor. The next one we're going to do is a hip mobility circuit. So we just grab a spot on the wall or whatever you can use for support. So here we'll use the basket. What we'll be doing here is we're just going to be supporting ourselves on one leg, taking the other leg and just driving it up to the side. After that circuit, we're going to be doing kickbacks to activate the glutes. So we're going to be kicking back straight up and then making a circle with our leg. That'll get the hips nice and loose, get you ready for movement. The next thing we want to do is we want to drop down into a plank position. We're going to start activating the core, getting some good blood flow there. So this is just a standard plank position, and we're going to try to squeeze all of our muscles, really get a lot of blood flow going. And the next one is just going to be a standard air squat. So we're going to be here. I want your feet just slightly wider than shoulder width, toes forward. We're going to try to keep our logo on our shirt pointing out the whole time. Just drop down to a deep squat, hold that for a second, come back up. So this is our dynamic movement series, dynamic warm-up. This is something you can do, like I said, anytime, get you ready to perform at your best.
D-Hug on the beat.
Potentially one of the most embarrassing things you can do on the basketball court is miss a wide open layup. That's because it's probably the easiest shot you're going to get in an actual game. Think about it. You've got an open lane and nobody in front of you to challenge your attack. It's basically a layup drill you've done hundreds of times before.
How are you missing your layups? And a lot of times they're like, I don't know. But that's the first step right there. Start paying attention to how you're missing your layup. So if you're always missing long, guess what you should probably do? Shoot a little shorter, right? It's really easy if you start paying attention to that. But if you don't pay attention to how you're missing, you can't make that adjustment. If you're always missing left or right or short or long, it's an easy fix if you're always missing that way. And odds are you probably are. So you can make that adjustment, but you have to mentally make it a habit to pay attention to that. Either you're rushing too much or you're relaxing too much. So if you're relaxing too much, that just means basically you're just like, oh, it's just a layup, and you just kind of throw it up there half-hearted, and that's where you start missing because you're not taking it serious, right? You're just like, it's a layup, I can't miss this, so you don't put any effort in. But if you're one of the players that's rushing too much, what you want to do is slow down a little bit. You're probably coming at the rim too fast and trying to rush the shot and get it out of your hand as quick as you can because you're worried about getting blocked or beating the defender to the rim. Probably not locking in on the backboard. Number one, maybe if it's like a relaxed layup and there's no defender here, sometimes maybe again you're going at it half-hearted and you're not really looking at the hoop enough and focusing enough. But especially this is an issue with a lot of players. I've noticed it causes me problems if I'm not paying attention to it, is when you start looking too much at your defender and worrying about the defender, if they're here, pretty much anywhere they are, and you're like looking at them, how are you going to make the shot? You're not going to make the shot. I don't care how good you are at layups, how easy you think layups are. If you're not looking at the rim, you're going to have a lot harder time making that shot. Even if you have a defender here, what I would recommend you do is keep your eyes locked in on the backboard or wherever it is that you like to aim. I always try to go kind of for this top corner and try to hit that on my layup. I'm going to use more of my peripheral vision now to react and make adjustments to him or protect the basketball if I need to in the air or going up for that shot. So basically what that means is if you're looking straight forward, you can see your hands out of the sides of your eyes while still looking forward. Same thing here. When you're looking at the rim, use your peripheral vision to see your defender out of the side of your eye, but keep your eyes locked in on the backboard. That is huge. You start looking at him and trying to aim with your peripheral vision at the hoop, that's not going to work out so hot for you.
Keep in mind that the mechanics for the left and right side layups are the same.
Still, you go up, try to lay it over the front rim, and instead of dropping it in the hoop for an easy two, it hits the rim funny and bounces out. Sub. Now, from our point of view, you did everything right, except that you tried to go over the front of the rim, which might get you some style points, but it isn't the best way to assure that you get points that count towards winning. So our tip for today is to extend that layup just a little bit and use the backboard to make sure you don't miss the easy lay-in.
The target for all layups should be the upper near corner of the target box, which we call a sweet spot. If you hit that spot, the ball will almost always bounce directly in for a basket. Anywhere else, and the percentage goes way down. It's very important for the eyes to focus on the sweet spot so that our fingers finish directly to this spot. If you fail to focus on the target, it's tough to be consistent. You should never miss layups. There are two ways to finish the layup: overhand and underhand. We prefer the underhand method because you're able to put a softer release as compared to the overhand method. With the overhand layup, your run-up speed is often transferred to the back of the ball, causing a hard contact with the backboard. This can result in missed layups. This method of shooting layups should use the same two-finger release as a regular shot. For an underhand finish, your hand turns under the ball as you're extending the arm. Your arm should be fully extended up toward the basket in front of your body.
Always go with full intensity. One thing I tell players is go at the basket like you're trying to dunk the ball. Even if you can't dunk the ball, go at it with that kind of intensity. Like when Kyrie or Russell Westbrook go to the rim, they're going hard with those two steps and they're trying to get as high and close to the rim as they can 90% of the time. On your two steps, slow down a little bit, and then on that last step, really push off hard. What that'll allow you to do is, even if your defender starts to stay with you here or tries to time you, if you really push off hard and quick on this last step, you can create separation right before that layup.
The ball is released at the highest point of your jump, where the ball gently rolls off the fingers toward the target. Even with this type of lay-in, the ball should release off the index and middle fingers last. These mechanics should create a very soft touch that will eliminate the hard rebound off the backboard. Need to finish over the bigger defender when you drive the lane? Break out the floater. Hey, Team Shot Science, Coach Tom here today, and I want to show you a deadly move that will allow you to finish in the lane over the other team's bigs. Now this move goes by many names: the floater, the teardrop, the runner, and even sometimes the giant killer. But its very basic purpose is to get the shot off a moment before the challenging defender has a chance to meet you and block the ball, while also slowing your forward momentum so you don't cause a charging foul by running into them. Okay, so let's get down to business on how to perform this move. To begin with, you'll have to have beat your defender and have them trailing you. So your man's trailing you and you're attacking the lane. All's good until you see that big from the other team is stepping up and getting ready to challenge your drive. At this point, you'll have to make a decision to take them all the way to the basket and finish strong, or catch them off guard and hit them with a floater. So let's assume that you've decided on the floater. You're going to need to consider two takeoff methods: one-footed or two-footed. Both approaches require that you start your finishing footwork well before you get within the range of the closing defender. Okay, for the 1-foot takeoff, we're going to use the same run-up with the 1, 2, and up footwork that we teach in the Layups 101 video. You can essentially think of this like executing layup footwork, but further away from the basket and with the intention of slowing your forward momentum. Now, if you're going to shoot the ball with your right hand, your right foot should be the first step, or the 1 count after your final pickup dribble. Your next step, the 2 count, will then be with your left foot, which we call the launch foot, because you're going to be jumping off of it and up into the shot. As you elevate the ball, you should swing up your shooting side knee as if it were attached to your shooting elbow with a piece of string. Try to make this jumping motion as straight up and down as possible to try and eliminate your forward momentum. This will allow you more of a cushion between the defender so that you will have time to get the ball off and will stop you from charging into them and picking up an offensive foul. The last thing you want to do is come flying in at full speed. Stay under control. Now for the actual shot release, you want to loft the ball up with a very soft touch and try to limit the rotation by dialing back your typical follow through. Just keep in mind that in this seemingly tense situation, you want to remain relaxed. It's also required that you have a good amount of arc on the ball. To 1, get it over the defender's outstretched hands, and 2, give the ball a higher percentage chance of falling through the hoop with a swish or a friendly bounce. Just remember to slow your forward motion with proper footwork.
So you might ask, well, what is your target? Well, our belief is that that target should be the entire inside diameter of the rim. It's an 18-inch target. It's not just a specific place. And what we want to do when we shoot the basketball is focus on that open space with our eyes, and what we want to do is lay the ball into the nest. This open space gives us a very soft target. And being that the basket is 18 inches in diameter, that gives us a much greater margin of error. If we can put the ball anywhere in that nest, it's probably going to be in. So we like to have our students focus on the nest when they are shooting. What we really want to do is to soften our focus on that area. We're not really looking at a specific spot like the back rim or like the front rim. And so what we want to do is to make sure that we focus on the entire diameter of the inside of the rim. And if we have a good arc, it's in.
Today we're going to go over a few drills that are going to help you finish better around the rim. So let's get into it. All right, so the first drill we're going to do is basically to get a feel for it. Now this is something that Kyrie Irving likes to do, something I like to do with my players, just because the problem with finishing around the rim is a lot of players don't practice it because they think because it's a layup, it's the easiest shot in basketball. But to be, 100% truthful, layups are one of the most common missed shots among not even just younger kids, but even at high school level. So layups are definitely something that nobody really works on them, because they assume that, hey, it's a close shot, it should be automatic. But no, it's being able to finish around the rim is a skill. So today, like I said, we're going to help develop that skill. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to start real close to the basket. And I just want you to shoot, go on this side with your right hand, this side with your left hand, that side with your right hand, that side with your left hand. Really just practicing different finishes, overhand finishes, sidearm finishes, under the rim spin from the front. Just mix it up, get creative. It's okay if you miss a few layups and stuff, but just really learn the backboard so you get to the point where you get in games. It doesn't matter if you're taking contact. You can throw the ball off the rim, off the backboard, wherever, and put the right amount of spin on it if you need to, and become a great finisher. All right, the next drill, I just want you to start from each block, do different reps from the block. And here we're just gonna do basic up and unders, finishes just from here though. So if you can make these layups without any momentum, it'll be much easier when you're in the game or practicing and you're going full speed. You'll get a lot closer to the rim. But if you can make these just from stationary, just right there, or coming all the way around for reverse finishes, if you could do that from the stationary spot, then imagine what happens in the game when you actually have momentum and you're actually much closer to the rim, able to finish. Next drill we're going to focus on is floaters. So we're going to practice doing floaters with your right hand on the right side, and floater. So we're going to be practicing, again, these are like stationary. I like practicing stationary moves because it helps develop the muscle memory. Like a lot of kids start by practicing floaters and finishing at the rim by doing all these dribble moves up front, and then getting to the rim, finishing, and they forget why they're practicing finishing to actually focus on finishing. So here, it's the only thing we're focusing on right here is that finish. So you have to be aware of what you're doing. So we're going to practice one leg floaters from here. We're going to practice, and then 2-foot floaters from here with the right hand. And then we're going to do the left hand on this side. This is extremely tough if you're not good with your left hand floaters. Left hand floaters is probably one of the toughest things for me to do just because I broke my wrist before. So I don't have full strength in my left hand, but it's definitely difficult to do. But when you're the type of point guard that can come through the lane and with either hand just be able to flip it up, you become a much bigger threat to score.